So welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom. Just thought I'd do a quick update on some of the news that I've been seeing. There's lots of things happening with World of Tanks at the moment. So I thought I'd do a quick wrap up of what I've seen. If you've seen anything else, let me know in the comments down below. But this is some of the stuff I've seen that particularly caught my eye around World of Tanks. First up, a report on the Daily Bounce forum, which is a really good resource if you're interested in finding out what's happening in World of Tanks, World of Warships. I think they covered Armoured Warfare as well. But they are reporting that as of tomorrow on the Russian server, Wargaming are instigating a whole load of bans for people who have been using illegal mods or cheats. And the interesting thing they report in this is that even if you've stopped using those cheats, so if you hear that they're going to start banning and you stop using them, you will still get banned. The fact you have used them in the past is good enough for Wargaming to ban and delete your account. That seems a little tough if you didn't know. I suppose it depends on the criteria. If you've been using them for 6 months and then you suddenly delete them, then fair enough. If you only use them once or twice and then realise that they're not what you should be using, then so be it. And I guess there are all different levels of illegal mods. Auto aim and aimbot and warpack and those things are very clearly cheats. In fact, I'm pretty sure when you look at them, look at the sites that download them, they actually do warn you that they are cheats. But I think if you take a mod that you're not entirely sure from a mod pack, it'd be interesting to see what Wargaming do and whether they choose to instigate this everywhere. I think it's to be applauded. So first of all, I should say absolutely applaud cutting out cheating. Illegal mods and cheats are the bane of the game. I think they're blamed a lot more than they actually happen. But undoubtedly people do cheat. It's a game people take very, very seriously for some reason, and they cheat. I think there's probably a lot more people who use mods that they aren't aware are illegal, or are on the fringes of being illegal, and so it'd be interesting to see what happens with some of those players. The other thing this article talks about is that if a clan has a large number of players who are banned for cheating, then that clan will also be disbanded, which is an interesting move as well. But I guess that stops the cheating that goes on in clan wars and strongholds and all that sort of stuff, if it's sort of a semi-official thing within the clan. So watch this space. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with this. At the moment they're reporting it's only the Russian server, but will Wargaming start doing a similar kind of ban on EU, North America, ASEAN server? I don't know, we'll see. To be applauded. They need to cut down on the cheats. My gut feel is generally, if you look at the way things are going with the game, 916 introduced even more of the sort of things that you used to get as a mod. My gut feel is, and I have nothing to go on, but I think that they will at some point ban all mods. Only those that are allowed will be the ones that are implemented within the game. Because they're slowly but surely taking the best bits out of the mods and implementing them. And again, I think that's got to be applauded, because the more level the playing field is for players, then that's got to be a good thing, right? If one player has a huge advantage because of the mods he's running over another player who doesn't run those mods, it doesn't seem quite right. However, I do not agree with some of the sentiment. I was watching some video the other day, I can't remember the guy's name, very, very outspoken, saying that basically anybody using mods at all was cheating in his view, and I completely disagree with that mentality. They give you a small informational advantage in most cases, but they're not cheats as such, and to say they're cheats is no different in my mind to saying that you're cheating because you're running the highest spec PC that allows you to have all the different options running, and the high, the frame rate's beautiful and stable, and your broadband's fantastic, as opposed to somebody who's trying to play it on some crummy laptop where their signal's not particularly strong. Who's the cheater there? Of course it's not. It's just one of those things that you have to deal with. So anyway, interesting story. Thought you'd appreciate seeing that. But let me know what you think. Should all cheaters be banned? Of course they should. But what's a cheat and what's an illegal mod? That's the interesting thing. I would really, really like Wargaming to properly list out what are allowed as mods. And then we're all in no doubt. But they don't do that. So it's interesting to see how they ban things that are illegal when they don't actually tell you they're illegal. So next up, we had a little micro patch this week. Well, it wasn't actually that little. It was quite a big patch in the end. But one of the things that changed with this was the Sturmwagen M4257, the new Swedish premium tank, had a buff to its radio range. Previously, if you saw my quick and dirty review on it, the view range was something like 400 meters. Very, very poor view range, radio range on it, and it has apparently gone up to 710 with the new patch. So clearly somebody inputted the wrong data when they were putting this tank into the game, and Wargaming rectified it very, very quickly indeed. So radio range is somewhere where it should be on this really, really excellent Swedish premium. So next up, the top of the tree for November has been announced on the EE server. It is the Batchat 25T line. So anybody who has any of those tanks on that line will get a bonus of ×2 crew experience in every battle they fight. Plus, if you fight if you win 50 battles in the month by finishing in the top 10 and you're driving the Batchat 25, you will get a whole load of personal reserves as well. I think also, if memory serves, there's a discount when you are buying any of the tanks in this tier, in this line of vehicles. So that's good if you're working down your French medium line. I've got a bit stalled on that, and I really need to push ahead. So maybe that'll be the incentive that gets me playing the Batchat line a bit more, because I'd love to get to the Batchat. It looks evil. Have you noticed how many premium tanks, special limited edition premium tanks, have appeared in the shop recently? Yeah, wonder why that is. Wargaming seem to be trying to milk us. They're following, I think, the World of Warships model of lots and lots of premium tanks. So this week you had the French super artillery, tier 5 artillery went on sale. Last week we had the Scorpion lightweight TD, the American TD, not to be confused with the new German Scorpion, which also went up on sale recently for a limited time. And now we've got the 59 Patton is up for sale, which is the tier 8 Chinese medium tank. Actually, a surprisingly good little vehicle. I quite enjoyed this. There's a link to the video I did on this some time ago when it was last on sale. I don't play it very often, but it's a nice little tank, and it did get a buff recently, so that's up for sale. But it's interesting that well, you can see here they've got the 59, you've got the Lefebvre, you've got the Scorpion. There's been a lot of limited inverted commas edition premiums on sale. So if you're interested in the 59 Patton, it's available from the 14th until the 21st only. But knowing the way things are going with Wargaming at the moment, probably means you'll get an opportunity to buy it again in a few months' time if you can't be bothered or haven't got. So other news from Wargaming, general news for people. I don't suppose many people are playing this, which is why it's actually closed down. But World of Tanks Generals, which I think is a card-based game, I have to confess I've never even looked at this thing, but they announced it a year or two ago now, and it's obviously failed entirely as a game, and it will be closing as of the 15th of April next year. Basically, as of the 9th of October, you can't buy anything for it anymore, and anything you've bought and haven't used will be, in terms of credits and whatever the current money currency, presumably it's gold as well, will be moved to your most active Wargaming account once this shuts down. So if you're a World of Tanks Generals player, then you can't be for much longer, I'm afraid. It is gone. So, exciting news for you German heavy tank drivers is that the German Mini Mouse, I think it was called, seems to have been revived. If you were paying attention to some of the announcements that were coming out, this was muted as a replacement for the VK4502P at Tier 9. It's a sort of well, as the name suggests, it's a mini mouse. It's very heavy armour. I think the gun wasn't particularly great, but it's a big old brute of a tank. And they tested it out and found that it was completely OP. Nothing could pen it. Well, Tier 10s could, but bear in mind it's a Tier 9, which means you could face Tier 7s. They just had no hope of penning it, and so it was quietly canned. So they've obviously gone away and thought about it and brought it back, and the Daily Bounce is reporting that it's now being super tested again, and the plan is not to replace the VK4502 but to actually have a new Tier 9 tank that leads to the mouse. So that's interesting in itself. So this thing statistically looks still to be a bit of a monster. You've got a 128mm gun on it, which a Tier 9 or a Tier 10, but the top gun is 246 pen with its standard round, 311 with its premium round, and 490 average damage, which is phenomenal. Slow rate of fire, obviously you'd expect. Pretty reasonable aim time for a big gun like that, 2.21 seconds with 100% crew. Damage per minute is only 2,000, so not massive. Accuracy is good, 0.36. Armor wise, yeah, they seem to have toned it down, which is what it needed. So hull armor is 200mm. Looks to be pretty flat, pretty consistent armor all the way around, according to that image. Turret armor is 250. Looks like the gun mantle's pretty big, so that should bounce lots of things. So 140 side armor and rear armor, and 160 on the turret side armor and rear armor. So yeah, not so good. So I don't know what it was statistically before, but that looks like that's a bit more feasible. So looks like the Mini Mouse is on its way, and will be coming to Tier 9, which is interesting. And talking about the mouse itself, it's suffered, I think, from what you would term sort of new game. Well, what am I going to say? The fact that a lot of the newer tanks that Wargaming have brought in have left the mouse behind. It was one of the older heavy tanks, as I understand. It's obviously the Tier 10 heavy tank on the German line. I've seen some people who have a mouse and play it well. It's just wonderful to behold the amount of bounces they can get, but it definitely has suffered a bit of a creep in terms of being left behind by some of the newer tanks that Wargaming have brought out. And Status Report is reporting that they are super testing improvements to the mouse, so it will increase its DPM considerably. Wow, that's a big increase, from 2,057 to 2,500 damage per minute. Wow, that's very big. 500 damage per minute increase. Big increase. And that's primarily by reducing drastically its load time from 14 seconds to 11.5 seconds. So its rate of fire goes from 4 rounds a minute to 5 rounds a minute. That's a big buff. Oh, that's a big buff. They've also increased its accuracy, but they have reduced its aim time, and they've reduced its aim time as well. So the gun on the mouse, if this super test continues into reality, and of course we don't know, but that's going to be a massive increase. Better accuracy, better rate of fire. The reticle bloom will decrease as well. Traverse of the hull is improved as well. Wow, that's pretty good. And your camo's got better. Yeah, from absolutely god-awful to just pretty bloody awful. So anyway, that's interesting. Buffing the mouse. Again, there seems to be a trend at the moment with Wargaming, which I actually applaud. They're looking back at some of the older tanks They're looking at their statistical performance, and when they feel they're suffering, they're not afraid to make some buffs to them. So the mouse looks like the next one to be getting the treatment. Obviously this is super test and it could well change, but interesting the way they're looking at this. So it'll be Christmas before we know it, and Christmas means we get some tacky free gift from Wargaming. I'm not knocking it. Any kind of gift from them is welcome in my book. I think it's a nice tradition that they give us something, even if it is pretty rubbish. And Daily Bounce is reporting that we'll get a Swedish tank this time round, the Tier 2 Swedish L60 light tank. It'll be rubbish, but it's a garage slot. So, but anyway, nice to know, and interesting that it's not a Russian one. Most often we get Russian freebies, although we did get that horrible Toady recently, didn't we? Which actually I quite like, but well, no, I don't like. I hardly ever play it, but I've got. It's not as awful as I think people thought it was. So, anyway, L60. We'll see what that's like. I haven't got any stats on that yet, but it's a Tier 2, so yeah, it's not going to be fantastic, is it? So finally, really exciting. This for me anyway. Is that Rita on the status report is reporting that at that last micro patch that we had this week, that there is a new American premium in the game files, which means it's probably going to be put up for sale fairly soon. This is the T26E5, which I believe is a Tier 8 American heavy tank, and it looks absolutely awesome. It's a nice looking tank in itself. Looks very much like the Patton or Pershing type modelling. Lots of hit points, 1500. It's got a really good engine, not too bad weight, so it probably moves pretty well. Top speed of 40 kph, they're saying. Hull traverse of 30 degrees per second, turret traverse of 26 degrees per second. All really good. Terrain resistances are okay as well. View range is a little weak. 390 seems very low, but its hull armor is 152.4, which is interesting, and 190 on the front of the turret. Again, that's not massive, but that gun mantle looks huge. So if that's spaced armor on front of that 190, then you're going to have the normal American bouncy fronted turret. So the hull armor is not too bad. It looks quite well angled as well. Side armor is garbage, 76 and 50 for the rear. Side of the turret's not too bad either, 101 and 127 at the rear. Must have a big old block at the back. The gun is the standard 90mm. Good damage, 240 average damage. Penetration is pretty reasonable, 230. In fact, that's more than pretty reasonable. It's very good. Premium is actually not that outstanding, 259. It's okay. Rate of fire is 8 rounds per minute, 8.6 rounds per minute. DPM of just over 2000, which is not outstanding, but it's okay. Reload's pretty tardy, not brilliant. Accuracy is good. Aim time is okay. Gun depression is -10, which is what you would expect with an American tank. So yeah, this thing is obviously on its way. The T26E5. If game files are in the game, that means that they can implement it pretty much anytime they want to. So I wonder what special occasion that is for. It could well be it's a special tank they offer at Christmas, who knows, but it does look to be a very, very interesting tank, and could well be the sort of tank that you want to use in strongholds and clan war tier 8s and those sort of games, because it does look rather mean. Good mobility by the look of it, good gun. Yeah, very, very interesting, and it's a premium. Again, one of these things that Wargaming have changed with premiums is that they are competitive vehicles now. They're no longer a weaker version of their standard sort of tier vehicles. The philosophy has changed with the fact that they no longer get matchmaking. So because they can now see +2s like any other tank, they've increased the ability of these premiums, so they are as good, if not better, in some cases, as the standard vehicles. Causes a lot of moans, people going on about pay to play and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's the case at all, but you know, at the end of the day, guys, you know, moan all you like about premium tanks and people paying money for this game, but the people who pay for it effectively pay for those who, the vast majority, who pay virtually nothing or nothing at all to play this game. Wargaming is a business. They have to make money. They have to pay their salaries of all their staff and designers that are out there making the games. They have to pay for all the people who are improving the game and moving it forward so it's fun for us to play. And they need to make a profit on top, so they need to find a way to do that, and selling premium tanks that are good quality to make people buy them is a way to do that. Afraid if you don't like that, then tough titties, it's going to happen, because that's the way they're going to keep the game running, and the way we have the game for the future is by producing tanks that people want to purchase. This one is definitely going to be on my shopping list. It looks to be a brute. If the stats are anything like implemented as they appear to have been implemented, that looks to be a really fun heavy tank to play, and they can have my money on it. So on that bombshell, this is GamerDom. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this wrap up. I haven't done one for a while, but I just thought there were so many interesting things happening in World of Tanks at the moment that it was worth just doing a quick wrap up of them. So let me know what you think about all these things down below in the comments. What's your thought on premiums? What do you think about that card game? I can't even think what it's called now. Generals closing down. What do you think about the mod ban? I think that's a really interesting one. It's really interesting to see how that will be applied, and what that means for other servers as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, click like, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. Really helps if you do. Helps me out. Means you get to see the videos when I post them, like this one, which was a bit more impromptu. An extra video that I hadn't planned to do, but did anyway. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your games, have fun. Don't cheat with mods, or cheaty mods anyway. But just enjoy the game. It is just a damn game. Don't take it too seriously. And we'll see you again soon. GamerDom.